Alright, so we're gonna react. Yeah, YouTube Doctor's Video 6. It just got uploaded today. Yeah, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it because like why not? Like they always got some creepy stuff. I know horror art again because I cannot draw. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. All right, let's do this.
Halloween fun with one-stop shopping.
The sharper you want your memories, the more you need Kodak.
How much further will it take to stop? 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet.
Everything you need for Halloween fun, now at Walgreens.
4 feet, 5 feet.
It's the night he came home.
Michael Myers.
15 feet.
Cigar 2, I'm at the corner.
Chapter 1, Joyride. Oh no, is this the
August 4th, 2021,
no.
a New Jersey police officer named John Nunez.
This is a sad one, dude. The kids was dumb, man. This is where I believe the police officer stopped the car, and the car later on was like in a deadly car crash.
Pulls over a speeding car in the township of North Bergen at 1:49 in the morning. Inside the vehicle was a 27-year-old passenger named Alexis Rodriguez, who was accompanied by the driver, 24-year-old Luis Fernando Ceballos, whom the officer had witnessed driving down a heavily populated street going well over 100 miles per hour.
You can shut the car off and give me your license, registration, and insurance. The reason for the years. I know. That's why I stopped him. Yeah, that's why I'm stopping you for reckless driving, careless driving, speeding, and the lights you ran, okay? You were doing at least 100 on Kennedy Boulevard. All right, man? You almost struck my car because I was making a right turn. All right?
Luis's driving was reckless, to say the least, apparently almost striking the officer's car and several others as he sped through town, breaking numerous traffic laws.
Yeah, this was so avoidable.
Next light on 66, red.
Oh, it's wrong one.
Despite this, Officer Nunez was sympathetic to the pair, as they were young and they were even on their first date. And despite there being grounds for a harsh punishment in a case like this, he made the decision to issue only 3 tickets, assuming that this whole situation would be enough of a learning lesson for Luis to never make the same mistake
should have
again,
arrested him
telling
or
him
something.
that
I'm sorry, we're on a first date, being here.
That's fine, but
Sorry.
almost killing each other is not the way to start on a first date.
Because it just got really carried away.
before leaving the couple with some final words of advice.
All right, man. Get home safe.
Nunez then turns back to his car as the couple drives off to continue their romantic evening elsewhere, hopefully this time in a much safer manner.
Nope. That did not happen.
Yo, this is the same kid. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
At approximately 2:13 that very same morning, Officer John Nunez would be called to the scene of a nearby accident, only to arrive and discover that the car involved in the wreck was the one that he had just let go, only a mere 10 minutes before. In the vehicle, now destroyed past the point of recognition, were Luis and Alexis, whose bodies were so mangled that just by looking from afar, Officer Nunez immediately knew that the crash had been fatal.
We're gonna need a crash team, sir. Crash team, we need a crash team. That's the same car I just had. Fatal. Oh my god.
God damn,
Oh
dude.
my god. Yo, that's the same car, bro. That's the same car, man.
The realization from the officer is devastating, as over the next 2 hours on the scene, you can hear him try and grapple with the situation, talking to fellow officers and even a paramedic, just trying to make sense of what had happened.
That's the same car I just had, Sarge. What happened? That's the same car I just had, man. What did you have? That I stopped him for speeding. Are you okay? Yeah, bro, I'm good. It's just like, bro, I
God damn, man. Just what are the odds, dude?
Yeah, just hit him off with 3. Like,
What are the odds of a car that you pull over, dude? What are the odds of that?
But I'm fine, man. It sucks. Like, I just literally stopped him for the same thing. Like, yo, relax, slow down, bro. It's She's like, no, it's my fault. We're just trying to get home, but it's not your fault if they get into an accident. And I had him stopped a couple minutes before.
For speeding?
Yeah.
Based on the knowledge and news reports that have since been released, another driver had been backing his large semi-truck into a local business to make a delivery when suddenly the couple crashed into his vehicle. And as it turns out, this was far from a freak accident, as despite the warnings from Nunez, it appears that Luis took his words not as a lesson to be learned, but as further fuel for his ego, believing that he could get away with anything on the road. As evident by the fact that just 5 seconds before the crash, it was determined that Luis had been traveling at 124 miles per hour, even faster than before he was pulled over. The entire clip is genuinely heartbreaking, and in the end, this deadly catastrophe serves as an all-too-important reminder to drive safely on the road, as the video has since been shared all across the internet, where it's since found a home here on the dark side of YouTube.
19 feet. 20 feet. Think. Slow down.
Costumes from $1.83 to
If the
$3.99.
valve was suddenly open and your arm was near,
Skeletons of strange animals litter the surf.
As evidenced by our first clip, the fairly mundane task of driving can quickly become life-altering within just the blink of an eye.
I am a walking human body that I could say that is very true. A blink of an eye, your whole life could change. It changed for me. My whole life changed because of a car accident. Here is the proof right here. I'll show a little bit how my skin looks like, because I got a skin grab, and so it's like my skin is like fusing together, whatever. But yeah, I have nerve damage on this hand, and my arm will never be the same ever again because my humerus got broken. Luckily, that's all I walked out of. It could have been so much worse. Like, yes, I lost my arm to draw as of right now. I mean, hopefully I could get it back. That's like, I'm big hopeful, because I do feel everything. And anyways, but it could have been a lot worse. I could have lost my leg. I could have died. The biggest one, I could have died. I could have I could have literally lost the whole arm too as well. They could have they would have almost had to cut it off or something like that, right? Broken legs, chest. Like, I could have been a vegetative state, coma. Like, who knows? Because my car flipped like 3 times. My car flipped 3 times. So I'm just saying, man. Like, I think that's why I'm like kind of like, oh, not super sad or like really down right now. Because I know how lucky I am, and I'm just like, you know, taking it day by day, you know? It's scenic.
Minute you're cruising along enjoying your ride, and the next you're encountering something straight out of a nightmare. It's really no wonder why dashcam videos have become so popular throughout the horror space, showcasing horrific accidents, robberies, and all sorts of other disturbing moments.
Yeah, unexpected things.
Back in 2019, a clip of a similar nature surfaced that grabbed the attention of the entire internet, not just based on its concerning imagery, but the seemingly unexplained mystery left behind in its wake. On the 30th of December 2019, a motorist was enjoying a drive on Highway 1 in San Francisco, California. The route took them high above the sea with an open cliff face showing the vast beauty of the ocean. It's one of the most visually stunning routes in the entire country, but on this particular day, for this particular driver, the beauty of the landscape would be shattered by a fleeting glimpse of something utterly terrifying.
I better be the clown.
That afternoon, police would receive a 911 call from the driver, stating that they had witnessed what they believed to be a car
Halloween is
falling
dead?
off the edge of the cliff face,
What do
which
you mean?
stood hundreds
What
of
happened?
feet above the water below. It happened in just a split second, almost
What?
too fast to fully comprehend, causing the driver to question whether what they saw was real or just a figment of their imagination. A question that would only be answered by the dashcam that just so happened to be rolling at the time of the incident.
The dash cam? What's going on? Oh my god, what the hell? I went home
clip
early
is
because I felt like
concise,
shit.
but it did
Oh,
in fact
are you sick
confirm the
still?
driver's account that a car had gone over the edge, as the footage
What
cuts off almost
the
exactly as
hell?
the vehicle appears to go airborne. where it would have been met with a tragic drop into the rocky ocean below. And perhaps most disturbing of all is the speed at which the car was traveling, as it appears as if the brakes were never so much as touched.
Did the guy
Within
faint?
just minutes of the call, rescuers were already arriving on scene, where they would discover tire tracks in the sandy dirt leading right off the edge of the cliff, perhaps an unsurprising indication that the car had actually gone over. But what was surprising was something that happened to be missing from the scene.
Nobody was in the
entirely,
car.
As when they looked down into the water below, there was no vehicle.
What?
Immediately, crews scoured the scene in rescue boats, combing the area in the hopes that somehow the driver could still be alive. And yet, they found nothing. No sign of a driver, and no sign of any vehicle. Despite
What?
the area being diligently searched over the following days and weeks, all that would be found were a few car parts that were never even matched to the make and model that appeared to go off the cliff that day. And even stranger, despite that exact type of car being determined from the video, no one came forward to report any friends or family members missing who might have owned the same type of car.
What the hell?
And this was a unique vehicle too, a green 2009 Lexus SUV, not really one that you would typically see driving around too often. And yet, despite this video being shared all over the news and across the internet, no one seemed to recognize it. And no missing persons cases were linked to this video, leading to the search being concluded with no definitive proof ever being established that a vehicle had landed in that location, or that anyone had even been involved. It was like it never even happened, as the vehicle had just disappeared as soon as the video ended.
Could have been like a suicide
The
thing.
clip immediately became a mystery here on the internet, with theories being thrown all around, ranging
Obviously.
from something supernatural having happened to the car somehow being swept up before investigators had gotten there.
I think
perhaps
I
entering the water at the perfect angle to which no debris was left behind.
Yeah, that's,
But maybe
that's
one of the most
possible.
compelling theories at the time was the idea that the video itself wasn't even real. With experts even diving into this theory to see if they can find any proof that this was CGI. Yet their investigation found no evidence that this was the case.
No, I think
Despite
it's
this
got
footage
something up.
seemingly making no sense at all, this video was all too real and was
Honestly, I think like just a simple like not make it complicated. I think the simple is that the car got swept. That's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, when they drive by, I mean, by the time they got there, I'm pretty sure like dust and winds and all that kind of stuff, especially next to this ocean. Like, I mean, they could have been tire tracks, but I don't know. It's not done yet, so they may talk about that. I went home early because I felt like shit. I jumped to the store to get some medicine and went home. Only saw one family trick or treating, like literally nobody in my street. Is your street known for trick or treating? My street is not known for trick or treating. It's completely dead where I live. If I go over like the other side of my town, there's like trick or treating like a lot. Just a lot of trick or treating.
was now left completely unexplainable, as the mystery would fall out of headlines and quickly be forgotten. Until the morning of April 29th, 2020.
Oh yeah, see, yeah, then yeah. April 20. Wait, what? Yeah, it's always dead around. Yeah, mine is always dead. It's not a treating area.
Almost exactly 5 months after this dashcam footage was taken, swimmers at the nearby Montera State Beach would stumble upon an object floating in the distance. And upon further inspection, the realization would set in that this object was actually a body. Her name was Tracy Sinclair, a woman from the area who just so happened to have been missing around the very same time as this infamous clip. And
Did
when
she
police would search
suicide
her
it?
auto records, they discovered that she did in fact own a dark green Lexus SUV from the year 2009, giving us at least a better idea of who was in the vehicle at the time it crashed, and the fact that a vehicle had in fact crashed to begin with. However, it's still unknown
you're right,
why
right.
Tracy
Is that
was never connected to the
self-harm?
case before
Sorry.
her body
Right,
was
right.
found, despite her
Sorry.
fitting the profile perfectly.
Just for YouTube.
Plus, we still don't know why
I'm gonna
her
have to
car
cut
went off
that.
the cliff in the way it did. But given the fact that the brakes didn't seem to have been pressed, many seem to have settled on the idea that the crash was,
Self-harm.
unfortunately, intentional. But perhaps the strangest part of this all is, to this day, that green
Self-deletion.
Lexus has still never been recovered, nor have any of its parts, leading to the mystery lingering for many across the web who are still left unsatisfied by its conclusion.
What?
But for the family of Tracy Sinclair, I'm just glad that they can now take some solace in having some measure of closure to their dark, devastating loss.
It's the great pumpkin. Your arm would be like trying to...
The passers...
Before we get into our next video, as you guys already know, this channel here is all about the mysterious and the spooky, which is why I am so
gotta cut my
excited to be
nails on my
joining
teeth.
Mr. Ballin
I
and
really
Ballin
want to.
Studios, a team who not only understands the world of dark storytelling, but who
The passers-by are characters from Traveler's Tales.
Cause it's annoying me with my
Dark
mouse.
and virtually lifeless. Above, there's just empty sky.
Our next case takes us to what would best be described as an environmental anomaly.
I don't like doing that, but
as hidden
I'm
within
no
the
choice.
outskirts of
I don't know where
Cyprus exists a body
my
of
nail
water
cutter is.
known
It's also I
simply
can't really nail
as
cut because
the Red
well my
Lake.
hand's messed up.
As the name would
Yeah.
suggest, this small secluded
Sorry.
lake consists
Sorry, guys.
of red water.
It's just
that
like- it
varies
was
in
very
shade
annoying
throughout
me.
the year. In some instances, it appears bright red, while in others it almost looks blood-like. This anomaly is
A
caused
blood
by
river?
various blends of minerals found within the soil, as well as runoff from a nearby abandoned mine, which was once used to extract iron ore and gold back in the 50s. Not only did this cause the water to change its shade permanently, but it also turned it highly toxic, and swimming here is strictly prohibited due to the danger that the water poses, with some going as far as to even call it an acid lake.
Oh
This
damn!
hasn't stopped curious tourists from visiting the area, however.
Obviously.
And as a matter of fact, the dark allure of this deadly lake seems to only drive curiosity, leading it to become a semi-popular location for extreme tourism. And those
Obviously.
brave enough to journey out there have gifted us some truly stunning footage.
Don't tell me someone's gonna be dumb enough and swim in there.
Like this video from YouTuber 2 Wheels 4 Rotors, which shows a stunning overview of this deep red lake from the vantage point of a remote-controlled drone, providing us with a full view of the lake's beauty. But while most choose to view the water from afar, others prefer a closer look, as
Oh
some have
my
even been brave
God.
enough to make the venture down to the shores themselves, with the one video that stands out above the
No.
rest belonging to YouTuber Sarah Funk.
So I discovered that there is a red lake called Mitisero. It's about 20 kilometers from Nicosia. Most people don't even know it exists. We're gonna go check it out.
In 2017, the well-known vlogger and her boyfriend
Couldn't you get
traveled
like
to
a disease
Cyprus
on
with
there?
the goal of
Like
making
by
it to the
smelling
water's
it?
edge, documenting the
Is that
entire
possible?
adventure and showcasing just how remote the area is and how difficult it is to access, while giving their commentary on the frightening landscape.
This is what like murder episodes are made out of, okay? Because it's always like a young American couple went on vacation to Cyprus. They went to see a red lake where nobody went, but they figured out why. And like it just never see us again.
It smells so bad here. It's like so gross. It just like feels like death. You know what I mean?
Eventually, their trek takes them all the way down to the shoreline, where Sarah stands dangerously close, taking a photo of the deep red water. But though
You
both of
touch
these
it?
videos are interesting in their own unique ways, it would be a stretch to call them dark. And for years upon their release, they really weren't, as it wouldn't be until 2019 when it would be revealed just how disturbing these videos actually were.
Wait, what?
In April of that year, Red Lake and its surrounding area were pummeled by relentless rainstorms, leaving much of the region flooded, including the nearby mineshaft. And within that mineshaft, a traveler would discover the decomposed remains of a woman, whose body had been flushed out by the rain, dislodging her corpse from a shallow grave she was placed in. And she wasn't
What?
the only one either, as after that discovery, the mine would be searched thoroughly, where yet another woman's body would be found, with both women having passed away due to strangulation, indicating that perhaps this was the work of a serial killer. And so the entire area within and around the mine would be searched from top to bottom, looking for clues or even more bodies.
What the?
Though it
I was
wouldn't
not
be until
expecting that.
investigators turned their attention to Red Lake that they would uncover the true extent of the killer's work.
Don't tell me there's a lot of bodies in that lake.
Police in Cyprus investigating a suspected serial killer have uncovered another body close to an abandoned mine where the bodies of 2 other women have already been found. An officer in the Cypriot army has confessed to killing 5 women and the daughters of 2 of his victims.
Within the water, 5 more bodies would be found, 3 of which belonging to adult women that too had been strangled to death, just like the previous 2 found in the mineshaft. Although disturbingly, The final 2 victims were merely children who belonged to 2 separate of the victims. The case was shocking and took Cyprus by storm, as a suspect would quickly come to the forefront and eventually confess to the killing of all 7 victims, admitting that he had buried their bodies in the mineshaft or dumped them within the lake. His name was Nikos Metaxas, a military officer who had used a popular dating app to find women in the area before proceeding to strangle each of them. In his confession, he claimed that 2 of the women were planning on pimping out their daughters, and that he not only had to kill the mothers, but he had to kill the children themselves in order for them to be free. And if these killings couldn't get any more deranged, of the 5 adult victims, all of them were migrant workers who had moved to the area in a desperate attempt to find work, even though this type of work came with limited rights, as the justice system allegedly doesn't treat them the same way as if they were regular citizens. It was evident that Nikos knew this too and chose these victims very carefully, as he knew that their disappearances would never be properly investigated, which was right, as supposedly law enforcement never even so much as looked into their disappearances. The context of this location makes these travel videos extremely chilling, as these tourists were literally venturing into a serial killer's dumping grounds. Though there is a reason why I chose these 2 videos as prominent examples. Because of the date? Nikos Metaxas didn't just dump his victims' bodies in the water. As for 4 of the victims, he first killed them, then bound them, then stuffed them into suitcases, before throwing them inside the water, as a way to assure that the bodies would be submerged.
Wait, did one of the bodies, like, where it was in the video? Was one of the bodies in the video and nobody saw it? Or noticed it?
Though years later, one just so happened to wash up to shore, where we can see it from a distance in 2 wheels, 4 rotors video, as his drone flies directly over top of it. Though this isn't nearly as shocking as Sarah Funk's video.
Oh my god. Why did you pick Sonic over the coolest character, Shadow? Because there's no shadows available at the time. But Sonic is cool. Come on, man. Look, watch. When the next Sonic film comes out, by the way, Sonic 3, I'll be wearing this costume and be Team Sonic over Team Shadow. Fuck off, man.
As she crouches by the water's edge, just getting away from it.
Oh,
with neither of these 2.
That's one of the bodies in there.
2 creators having any clue that in these moments they were actually videotaping the trapped remains of a lost soul. By the end of the investigation, all 7 victims were uncovered and finally given a proper burial, with their names being Mary Rose Tiburcio, Arian Palanas Lozano, Asmita Kadaka Bista, Eleno Natalia Buena, Maricar Valdez Ariquila, Livia Florentina Buena, and Sierra Ariquila. The case was officially closed in June of 2019, when Nikos was sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms, and will thankfully never see the outside of a prison again. However, his actions have left a permanent dark stain on the work of unknowing creators all across YouTube.
The other boy, but as the moon rose, he turned into a...
As the cap came free, the rushing water grabbed the diver and...
Lego? What the hell? It's so weird.
Hallo und guten Tag aus Berlin.
Love Parade.
It was July 24th, 2010, a day in which seemingly the entire country of Germany was ready to celebrate, as it was time yet again for another long-awaited Love Parade. This music festival had run off and on dating all the way back to 1989, where it's hosted some of the most popular musical acts in all of the world, as well as millions and millions of people. And it had grown to be so popular that during the event in 2008, an unbelievable 1.69 million people had been in attendance for what was essentially one of the largest parties on the entire planet.
God damn,
and the 2010
people.
festival was set to be no
Holy
different,
hell.
with event organizers
So
expecting
what's the Love
a
Parade?
turnout
Exactly.
of
Is that for like a metal,
people.
R&B, or
this
just
amount
like,
of people
just
coming
different...
together for any event is always going to be a logistical and public safety nightmare. Though despite event organizers and officials from the...
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all. I cannot go to those type of concerts because like yeah, the fear of like crush is insanely high, man. Hell no, dude. Hell no. I seen those videos, Moss Pits, or I cannot do this. I cannot do those concerts.
The city it was being hosted in, expressing their concerns over the size of the venue and its ability to fit so many people. The event was greenlit anyway, and it was determined that should anything go awry, there were proper channels for guests to evacuate in a quick and safe manner. And so on that July morning, thousands began lining up to experience this one-of-a-kind music festival. To control the crowd flow, the venue offered 2 large entry points that would lead the incoming crowd through a large tunnel which converged into a single main ramp. This ramp would then take the festival goers directly to and from the venue itself, where the party was already getting started. And to help with crowd strain, an additional smaller exit ramp was set up to help manage the high volume of people. And based on the footage found here on YouTube, it seems that at the beginning, people had been flowing in and out of the area with little to no issues, with most enjoying the moment knowing that they were part of history. Though very quickly, a problem would arise, as after just a few hours, the venue itself was supposedly filled to capacity. As a result, law enforcement set up a corridor blocking each of the entrances, as well as a third located on the ramp leading into the venue, in an attempt to stop the crowd from entering the festival.
Let me guess, some people were
this
just
didn't
thinking
stop the crowd from growing outside the main entrances, as after just
Yeah.
minutes, hundreds of thousands of people had gathered, each of whom were desperately trying to get in, pushing their way towards the first and second police corridors.
Oh my god,
As this was
no.
happening, the third corridor was also facing immense strain, as hundreds of thousands of people were attempting to leave the venue through that main ramp, meaning that at all 3 barricades stood countless patrons, all attempting to go in converging directions.
Oh
Due to the
my
strain,
god,
the
no.
first corridor would be dissolved, which was followed by law enforcement's decision to remove the second corridor as well, meaning that in an instant, all of these people were now rushing in directly towards each other. And worst of all, despite being allowed into the tunnel, that third corridor remained closed, leading to those walking through the entrance being met by another police barricade, as well as hundreds of thousands of people who were attempting to go the opposite way. It was the perfect...
Yeah, what up, BB Lames? How's it going? Welcome. What's good? What's good? Today's Halloween. Armor. I was next to them.
Perfect storm. And now, each of these massive crowds were colliding, with everyone trying to force their way through in their own directions, within this hopeless mass of humanity. Across YouTube, you can find various clips showcasing the commotion of that day. Some taken from afar,
Oh, yeah.
some were
busy,
taken by
though.
those
Yeah.
who didn't even know anything was wrong. And some taken by those who were trapped in the crowd themselves.
Oh my god, dude, this is what I mean, man. Like, I cannot go with a big crowd, honestly, man. I just cannot do it, man. Like, unless it's like fully controlled, like the con, right? Like that, like I did TwitchCon. At least that it's like someone pretty much like controlled, you know. Let's see. Hold on. There you go. But yeah, man. Oh, dude. Yeah, did you have fun, BB Lanes?
And with the crowd
BP
pushing now
lanes?
from all
Sorry,
directions,
I said BB.
there was just no stopping the force, leading to them being squeezed and slowly suffocated, with the pressure being so great that some had their entire rib cages completely crushed in.
Ugh. PS Flames. Oh, PS
The visuals from that day are horrific, with some attempting to climb over the walls, while others had their lifeless bodies lifted above the crowd in a desperate attempt to get them medical attention. But it was helpless, with the terror also being captured by survivors who would give accounts of what they experienced within that massive crush of people. I saw one girl they were trying to resuscitate and she had broken legs. Her boyfriend was near her, but there was nothing he could do. They put a cover over her head in the end. This is the first time I had ever seen people die. I saw 25 people piled on top of one another, a huge heap. The people couldn't get any air. I saw the dead in there. The number
Oh
of people
my
I saw lying on the floor was
God.
ridiculous. They had stamp marks on their faces. It wasn't until I saw people being resuscitated that I understood.
I need Johnny emotes. Well, subscribe. Help the channel out. Don't be stingy. Give me. No, I was kidding. I have free emotes. My emotes are struggling. Oh, you talking about for commission wise? Oh, you're talking about commissions. Oh yeah. Well, I gotta fix my hand.
Understood how serious this was. I don't even know if they were alive or dead. And to me, the power of this crowd is best shown within the CCTV footage that was overlooking the entire entrance ramp, as you can see people being pushed around from all different directions in a disturbingly unnatural manner, almost like waves in an ocean. In the uncontrollable frenzy, 652 people were left injured, with 21 sadly passing away, many of whom had died right there within the sea of people. In a following investigation, claims were made bashing the police on the scene for their response to the disaster, while the then mayor of Duisburg, the city where the event was held, named Adolf Saucerland, received heavy criticism and even death threats for greenlighting the event, with Adolf later going on to be impeached from office and lose his position entirely.
Wow.
And of course, the event organizers themselves faced extreme backlash, especially once it was revealed that the venue wasn't even filled at the time, and could have easily fit hundreds of thousands more inside, making the third barrier which ultimately caused this entire human crush completely unnecessary. Though in the end, no one took responsibility for the tragedy, and no part.
One thing I don't understand is like, if it's getting filled up, why don't like once you notice things are getting filled up, and why do they keep going? I don't understand how that happened. Like fully, like what the hell? But you know what? When people are in panic, they make the wrong choice, right? When you're in a panic mode. What happened to it? I saw you break the spider. Yes, I did. Because I thought nobody's gonna get the sub at the end of the stream, pretty much, and so they give to the sub at the end of the stream. So I had to break the spider. What happened to it? Are you talking about my arm? Oh, you can check out my YouTube channel. But pretty much I got into a car accident and I got nerve damage on my arm. It was really bad, but yeah, if you want to check out my YouTube channel, that's where I have the video, like the full story, timestamp, everything. So you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. There's all timestamps of how my arm looked like a couple months ago. I'm gonna do an update video soon how my arm looks like and how I'm doing. But yeah, there's the video on it. There's like videos, photos, everything on my car crash, everything like that. There you go. Wait, do I have my put my bottom right? Fully? Yeah, it's on. Yeah. I'm just taking it day by day. I can't really do much right now. I'm like kind of like jobless, which is kind of embarrassing to like admit, kind of thing. But you know, I'm doing my thing. I'm hustling. I'm streaming. You know, I guess I'm trying to sell some artwork, and I'm about to make a t-shirt design that I got the money from TwitchCon. So I'm about to make another t-shirt design to kind of start up my t-shirt brand. So give me my second t-shirt. I'm gonna make this year. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep doing things.
Parties were formally convicted of any crimes.
I mean, it's impossible.
Drink? Oh, it can happen this Halloween. They are the children of the...
No one knew. As you watch the following recreations of actual Delta P incidents, ask yourself if you have, on occasion, ventured into situations without being thoroughly prepared.
Yeah, take it day by day, bro. What's this? Oh, the ocean is a scary ass place, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
It was the start of a typical day for Kazim Ali, as he dives into the waters off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago, proceeding to swim towards a large structure looming in the murky sea. Kazim was working the unique and highly specialized job of being an underwater welder, tasked with making repairs to a multitude of submerged structures that could only be reached by scuba diving. Kazim was employed by the Pariah Fuel Trading Company, who had tasked him and 4 others to perform maintenance on an inactive oil pipeline. This pipeline was incredibly long, going on for 1,200 feet below the water, with its two ends coming up to a 90-degree angle and rising up to the surface, with these vertical pipes being coined as risers. The system was initially created so that ships could park at the furthest riser and transport their oil through the pipe and out of the other riser, where it would be collected by Pariah. The area in which Kazim and the 4 other divers would be focusing their work on that day was known as Berth 6, which was capped by a hyperbaric chamber, or an airtight enclosure that would allow them to breathe and properly use their welding equipment, despite technically being underwater.
I'm trying to see like how I could get the line perfect.
In the video, Kazim approaches the chamber, climbing inside when he's met with his colleagues Faisal Kurban, Rishi Nagasar, Yusuf Henry, and Christopher Boudrim, whom he all considered close friends by this point, sharing a close bond over their unusual profession. Once inside, the crew would remove their scuba gear, as they were now able to breathe the fresh air from the chamber, before going on to start their work on the pipe. The plan initially was to remove an inflatable plug from inside the oil
did the pipe burst?
It was placed there to prevent the oil from the pipe from being contaminated by the surrounding water. With that process being briefly shown
I'll
in the
check it better.
footage,
Take it about a day.
until suddenly
the pipe burst.
The footage goes dark. It all happened so quickly that even the camera couldn't capture what had just transpired. One frame we see the inside of the chamber, and the next, it's pitch black. With nothing but the noise of rushing water and the faint sound of muffled screaming.
Give me one sec, guys. I need to look at something real quick.
Until finally we hear a voice, revealing in part the extent of the situation that had just unfolded.
Did it burst? That's something. I think it burst. We're inside of the pipe?
As the plug was removed from the pipe, in a time less than even a split second, the changing of pressure caused an instant suction in a phenomenon known as delta P, which proceeded to pull all the contents within the chamber inside of the tube, meaning that all the equipment, the air tanks, the tools, and the divers themselves were sucked into the pipe and were now being pulled at an impossible speed through the 1,200-foot-long tube system.
Damn.
Now this pipe was incredibly narrow, at only 36 inches in diameter, and as we hear Kazim being dragged throughout the tunnel, he and the others are repeatedly being struck by their heavy equipment. Yet as they each came to a halt, we hear one of the divers call out to the others, to which, one by one, they all miraculously respond.
I can't come up.
Bro, that's gotta be scary as fuck, dude. Oh my god, hell no, dude. Did they all survive though?
Not only had the 5 survived the event, they were
good.
all conscious and had managed to stop within an air pocket, meaning that at the right angle they could still breathe.
Damn.
They had somehow survived the nightmare, but had just found themselves in a brand new one.
Yeah, like they're stuck there right now.
Lodged deep within the narrow tube, the 5 men were trapped in complete and total darkness. And on top of this, the pipe was filled with old, slippery oil and water, and the group had no way of knowing where exactly they were. Making the situation even more disturbing, all of the divers were badly beaten up by the debris, with some in significantly worse shape than the others, which became evident as the men try and take stock of the situation.
God, everything alright with you? No. Any leg break? Your leg, alright. 5. Anything happened to you?
Fuck, dude.
And this is where the footage would come to an end. Though for the divers, their ordeal was only just beginning. After minutes of trying to get their bearings straight, it was determined that Christopher Boudrim was not only physically in the best shape, seemingly avoiding any significant injury, but also that his head was in what they believed to be the direction of the chamber, where they had entered the tube, with that chamber being their only hope of escape, as had they accidentally gone to the opposite riser at berth 5, they would have been met within a movable inflatable plug. Chris knew that he would have to be the one to lead the group out, and so together the 5 men linked themselves, connecting their feet with the person below them's shoulders, and began to slowly push their way through the darkness, where they would quickly be met with another problem.
Oh my god.
Despite the group having landed within an air pocket, Christopher could see that the area ahead of him was completely filled with water, and there was no way of knowing just how long that stretch of water could last. It could be just for a few feet, or it could be for hundreds of feet.
Oh,
though despite the danger, the 2 men in the front, Christopher and Faisal, decided to press on, leaving the other 3 men who were too injured to take the risk behind. So they moved forward, pushing on and now holding their breath, inching into the unknown, not knowing when or if their next breath would occur. After what must have felt like hours, the 2 managed to break through into the next air pocket, where by some miracle they would also find 2 oxygen tanks, which they would both utilize to help push them further and further through long stretches of water and long air pockets, knowing that at some point they had to be approaching the end. Though the closer they seemingly got, the more Faisal's condition seemed to deteriorate, as the stress of it all seemed to finally catch up with him, leading to him stopping and refusing to go any further, falling into a complete panic and yelling at Christopher to stop too. But Christopher refused, yelling back to him and the 4 others who were now hundreds of feet away that he was going to get them help and that he was going to come back for them. And so he kept moving forward, praying that he would reach the end before his oxygen ran out.
God damn, dude.
Until he hit the edge of the pipe. He had made it back to berth 6, though by this point the pressure was so great that he was physically unable to swim up the tube, and so he grabbed a nearby chain and held on for dear life, waiting and praying that a rescuer would look down the riser. And sure enough, he was eventually met with the sight of a rescue diver who swam in and pulled Christopher to the surface. Somehow, Christopher had survived, escaping one of the most claustrophobic and disturbing situations you could ever imagine. And with the rescuers on the scene, knowing that his friends were still alive, this case was headed for the most improbable happy ending possible.
All of them survived?
Though there was one glaring problem.
Oh no.
Despite Pariah having a rescue crew on scene, saving the life of Christopher, they would come to the conclusion that it was too dangerous to send anyone back in the tube, despite knowing that 4 of the other divers were still trapped inside and were very much alive. And so you might be asking, if they weren't going to dive in, then what was their backup plan?
You like throw a rope or chain or something, right?
There was none.
Wait, what?
And after just 12 hours of waiting around, Pariah began preparing death notices for all 4 of the workers, with the CEO even sending a message out on WhatsApp to his colleagues, stating that they were alerting the press that the rescue effort was going to be considered a recovery effort from now on, accepting that the divers had perished. But this wasn't actually true, as all the while you could hear the faint sound of banging coming from the pipe, indicating that the divers were not only alive, but were desperately fighting for their lives, hitting the sides of the pipe so that anyone could hear them. But nothing was done to help them.
What?
And so, trapped in that tight, claustrophobic, pitch-black, oil-filled pipe, those 4 divers were left to die slowly. All the while, they likely held on hope for a rescue that was never so much as considered.
Oh my god,
the sounds of their banging were heard all throughout the day and all throughout the night.
Oh my god.
Until eventually 2 full days later, when the pipe fell silent. Their 4 bodies would be fished out 5 days later, with Christopher being the sole survivor of the incident.
Wait, so they couldn't figure out how to get the,
This whole tragedy is by far one of the most disturbing I've ever encountered.
Wait. So they couldn't save him at all? Like throw a rope or a chain down the pipe to pull him out? What?
And the sheer terror of this moment when the men were initially sucked in, and the realization that they had been pulled into the pipe, is only made more horrific once you know the fate of these trapped men. The ones who were severely injured never had a chance to begin with because the company in charge of their safety literally abandoned them. Christopher became so devastated by the lack of action that he himself even attempted to re-enter the pipe in order to rescue his friends. But he was held back and restrained, as it seemed to be Pariah's plan all along to just wait for the men to die. In the end, Pariah did face legal pushback for the incident itself, as well as the apparent lack of effort in saving the men.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What?
Though eventually they would be cleared of any wrongdoings.
What?
The goal of this video is to make you aware of the potential for differential pressure situations. Because when it's gotcha, it's gotcha.
Candies of every kind. Bubblegum, lollipops.
A time for children.
They couldn't drop like a chain or something?
Good times.
That's so messed up. They left him behind on purpose. They couldn't save him. Like a chain or something like you pull so they could pull him one by one or something like that. I know it's not gonna be as easy or like something like that, or maybe take out the take apart the pipe or like take it apart or something of some kind. Bro, that's so messed up, man. They just damn okay, alright, dude. Or that's just so messed up. They literally just let them to die at the end. To try, but you don't just immediately write sorry letters to the fountains and go drink vodka and it says you didn't just kill 4 men. It was clear if any charge of didn't pisses me off the fact that they immediately gave up and started writing death notices. Yeah, dude, the pipe is so messed up, man. Yeah, the last story is so disturbing, man. What? Okay, that's messed up, dude. That is messed up.